Welcome back to Cross Stitch the Globe. My name is Stephanie. This is the channel about cross stitch. Normally, a Flosstube episode would be done with my sister Allison at her house, but she was not feeling good today and needed to take the day off. And since we have some extras coming up pretty soon that need to get done on schedule, I figured I'd go ahead and do a Flosstube, and then next week we can record those extras. And I'm not going to say what they are in case it doesn't happen. But they're good ones in a series that people like. So I think you should, if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. And yeah, so let's jump in. We like to start by doing some community stuff. I think lately I've found that whenever I take a step away from the community, it's not great for my mental health. And I've been trying to dive back in this week, and that has been really good. So I did get caught up. I got caught up on our mentions, but it didn't sync from my cell phone to my iPad. So one second, or from my laptop to my iPad. So let me go grab my laptop. All right, so I'll grab my laptop, and also at some point I feel like I'm going to need to take take a little break this week. I can't, normally it syncs up like automatically. This has never happened before. And luckily it happened on a day when I was filming here and not at Allison's house, because I don't take my laptop with me when I go over there. All right, we like to start by thanking people who mention our channel. It means a lot to us when people mention our channel, and I know that's how a lot of you guys have found us. So I'll start with people who recommended either one video in the series or the entire series of our like most expensive. So last week we came out with most expensive cross stitch books, but we also have patterns and kits. I'll link to all those below. So Karen from KBH Stitches recommended the books video and the series, and she's one of those people that I go to when I want like a really good freebie, but she also has an amazing stash. So it's really fun because you know that like she's seen a lot of these things probably out in the wild over the years. Sarah from Old Timey Birdcage. I don't know if this counts as a recommendation, but I just put it on the list because she was said she watched our videos, but she was showing some like 90s dimensions kits. And I'm very into like vintage 90s cross stitch right now. And then Hobbies and Hyperfocus. So she told a story that in her Flosstube about some Stitchy Kindness she received, not from us, but because she commented on our most expensive patterns video. And she told a story about how like something had like where I won't give her story away, but someone reached out to her because of because of her comment on our video, and so that just seemed like so cool and special. And then Annie from XO Needle in the Hay XO had Liz Matthews from Hello from Liz Matthews on her channel because they're real life besties, and so they're always on each other's, not always, but they do a lot on each other's channels. Anyway, so they started a new segment called like Top 5, which is very fun, and they did their top 5 notions and accessories. But they both said that they kind of got the idea from our trends prediction videos. From the trend prediction videos, and she mentioned us and Cam Stitcher. I don't think anybody else did one, but if anybody else did a trends prediction video, please comment below because I would totally like to watch it. But that was it's just very, very cool that like, first of all, Annie's like very like, you know, Annie is like one of the coolest people. She's got the best, she's got the most aesthetically beautiful cross stitch Instagram, and she knows all the coolest cross stitch people. So the fact that she watches our channel is crazy. And then obviously Stitch 8, like I'm sitting in a room with like framed Liz Matthews pieces. So it's just crazy that they were inspired by us in any way. So that was very exciting for us. And if you're not watching their channels, I'll link them below. It's XO Needle in the Hay. XO is Annie. And let me mute my computer. And Liz Matthews, her channel is called Hello from Liz Matthews, like her design company. And then, oh, I should mention this is 4 weeks of mention. So this is more than normal. And I thanked some people last time, but I didn't have the time to go through and find everyone. It was not in like a great headspace last time we filmed. So I can't remember if I mentioned Lucy from Forest City Stitching or not, but she and Jackie from Jackie's Creative Inspirations both mentioned our thrifting videos. So Allison and I did a thrift with us recently. I will link to below. And then I also started another channel that Jackie talked about called Stephanie's Shop Secondhand that is about secondhand shopping. And I do a lot of thrift with me's. And in my right now I'm chronicling my need to declutter my entire life, which you guys are seeing parts of as well. And I'm starting a vintage resale shop on Etsy. So my office is like now half cross stitch, half vintage items, but still like way too full right now. So anyway, thank you guys for the mention. And then a couple Flosstubers showed things that they'd bought in my destash on their Flosstubes, which was really fun because one, those destashes and my ongoing effort to destash my life is both helping with like my mental health of like just being organized, but also and some of it's that like my tastes have changed across stitch or my eyesight has changed, and so some of the things like I'm destashing are things that I really like, but I've just had to admit are not don't have room in my life right now. And so to see the work, it is a lot of work to destash it. And now, I mean, I am making, some of it I'm making money on and some of it I'm just like cutting my losses on stuff that I bought that I don't want to keep. But all of that money is going to like pay some bills and things. So it's been really like good for me to do it. And so then watching people destash, oh, and Jen from Jen's Fiber Web also showed some destash items, but I'll mention her again later. So Wendy from so I lost my train of thought. Okay, so seeing people open their destash items or share their destash items on Flosstube or Instagram has been really, it's been really gratifying because it's like, I don't have the space in my life for these items. If I lived 100 years, if I lived 100 more years, I would want to stitch them, but I can't. So seeing them go to people who are like very, very excited about them, it's like, I know I'm doing the right thing. And then also it's helped like giving me a little side hustle I can do because I have 2 young children and my travel writing. I don't know if you noticed the state of the internet right now, but it's not great. And the state of travel is not great. So having a little side hustle that I can do after my kids go to bed that is also organizing my life has been so great. So I'm loving seeing people show their stuff. So Wendy from A Stitch in the Matrix, who's so funny. Anyway, but she bought this like possessed Easter rabbit pattern from me and loves it for all the reasons that I loved it, but like described it even better than in my head I was describing it. So go check her out, her channel. And then Dances with Floss. So they bought, well, there's 2 of them, but she bought some patterns, so I'm very excited for her. But the thing I was excited the most about is that I destashed a piece of fabric that was made for one specific pattern. It was a pattern I knew I was never going to stitch. And she was looking for that fabric anyway and bought the fabric for me and now doesn't have to wait for it to be hand dyed. And the fabric that is meant for this pattern is going to get the right pattern on it. And that was really cool and very exciting and gratifying because I felt like, oh, I had this fancy cool thing, but I knew in my heart I wasn't going to stitch that specific pattern. And then Eve from Queen Goody Crafts bought some of my 40 count, and she bought like a fat quarter for me, but then also she had mentioned like that she just was looking for 40 count. And so I told her like I had like offcuts of 40 count that were like, fat 8 size or a little bit bigger that were like sitting on projects. So she said she wanted them. So I literally went to all my 40 count projects and cut off the excess fabric so that I don't even have to think like, what am I going to do with this extra like fat quarter plus of 40 count fabric? It's just out of my life. So I still have some projects on 40 count, but I own no like 40 count other than like tiny little scraps. So it was, and she was really excited because then she got 4 different kinds of 40 count that she can try because she's trying to do more. So that was really exciting and gratifying. Thank you to everyone who's bought from my destash. I am going to share at the end under haul. I got a patterns haul off eBay and I'm going to share what I'm keeping, but then I'm going to share what I'm destashing. So it'll be like a little mini pattern parade towards the end. All right. And then Katie from KDP Crafts recommended the channel in general, which thank you so much. And talked a little bit about like the mental health aspects of like community. Oh, Tara from Wilden Woman Crafts also mentioned the same thing, but and it wasn't like an official mention, but just that like, right now it's better it feels sometimes frivolous to be like, well, I'm going to spend all my time cross stitching. But and I had less time to cross stitch. But when it is a community that is, and it can be very isolating to be an adult in the 21st century. So having a place to go that's community feels good and is helpful and is good for your mental health. And then Audrey from Stitch Bead said that like a new stitcher reached out to her and she recommended our linen versus Ada video, which I will link below, as something that she sent her. And that was really good because even though we have been taking a break from recording tutorials. It's like right as everyone is like, yay, we need the tutorials. We've decided to put a break on them, but we'll come back to them because we're just doing a little extra organizing. So those are our mentions. I should say, I forgot to say, we have 3 kinds of videos on our channel. This is a floss tube, so I have my personal stitching here. Because Allison and I can only film together on Sundays, that means Thursday's video will also be a solo video from me. And so I will probably record on Wednesday or Thursday another hour of decluttering and destashing, probably mostly decluttering, because I've really gotten to the bones of some of the collections, and some of the collections now just need to be organized. But the point of doing the destash before the organization is that I don't want to organize things that are not staying here unless they are in like the cabinet that I made for patterns, or like this box that is full of like kits, because those will go out the door eventually. So I'll probably either do an hour. Actually, let's do this. Vote if in the comments. Tell me, do you want to do an hour of DMC organization, which is something Alice and I are both working on, but we don't have like a rule about having to do it like together. So I can either work on my DMC for an hour, which was Allison and my original plan for the day, or I can do an hour of like decluttering and destashing. And so you can say you want DMC or you want the decluttering in the comments, and then I'll go based on if there's like a clear winner. If it's tied, I'll pick. If it's tied, maybe I'll throw it up to Instagram. Okay, so next I like to next we like to congratulate people who are celebrating milestones in the community. Again, I am just now like throwing myself back into Flosstube in a big way. So I have caught a few, but I haven't caught the same number that I would have in a normal 2-week period. So first of all, Kitty Stitch hit 2,000 subscribers. Congratulations. Carol Saltbog Stitcher hit 24,000 subscribers, that is a very big cross stitch channel. Like our world is just very small, and I don't know if you guys have like looked at the numbers of things, but like a small-ish like beauty channel or something, or like fashion channel or something might have 100,000 subscribers. The biggest Flosstube channels, cross stitch channels, are like 50,000, and there are only a couple, and they're like Fat Quarter Shop. Like for the most part, anywhere over 20,000 is like a really big channel. And so hitting 24,000, just because there are just not that many cross stitchers who are also watching YouTube. So hitting 24,000 is a really big deal, and congratulations. And if you haven't checked out her Blackbird Parade, go check that out. And then also I happened to catch her floss. I was stitching a Brenda Gervais pattern which is not something I stitch, is not one of my like main designers. And so when her video popped up as I was stitching, and it was about her like 2 months of stitching Brenda Gervais, I was like, oh, let me watch this. So you just learned so much from her. Okay, then Chandria Carroll is celebrating 1 year on Flosstube, and then also I think she recently reached 500 subscribers, so congratulations. And then birthdays, again, I didn't catch as many as I normally would, but Hello from Liz Matthews had a birthday, Elizabeth from Thread Gremlins had a birthday, and Samantha the Kansas City Stitcher had a birthday. So happy birthday. All right, let's dive in. So this morning I was kind of like frantically FFOing because I really wanted to show this as an FFO and not just a finish. And it is in the thumbnail, so a little bit of cheating, but I finished Easter Peep by Brenda Gervais. So if you don't know if you're like new here and you don't know the backstory, this pattern, I bought this pattern in 2023 off of Facebook Marketplace Destash as part of like a bundle of patterns. Hadn't probably spent, I didn't go back and look, but most of the things I bought were like 4 for $20. But they were like mostly like good newer patterns. So I probably spent the equivalent of $5 on this pattern. I've destashed a lot of the things I bought in that because like for one reason or another, I've just been like, you know what, that's not for me, or that, I have a lot of stuff. You guys have seen me destash a lot of stuff, but there's still a lot here. And I'm looking at a shelf with 3 rows of project bags. So I've had to be kind of honest with myself about what I'm going to stitch and what I'm not going to stitch. But I had held on to this pattern because I was like, I'm going to stitch him. And so I never looked up the value or anything about it because I was like, I never went to list it. So I never went to see, like, because I never went to list it, I never went to see, like, is it in print or out of print? Like, I didn't buy it specifically. I just got it as part of like a bundle. So when I was researching our most expensive patterns video this year, I was absolutely shocked to see him on it and that he sold for like $185. And like I said, the like small vintage pattern reselling business that I've like ended up doing accidentally this year is paying some like important bills. I'm going through a divorce and I have little kids and the travel industry is on fire. So it has been like helpful money. And so to find out that like something that like sitting in a binder that I had like saved for one day was something that like people were actually like needing was like, or looking for, was really a nice surprise. So I was like, let me go ahead and hurry up and stitch him. I told Allison she could stitch him. She said she didn't really want to. Like at first she thought she would, but then she was like, nah, it's not for me. I have one other friend that's going to stitch it. I'm going to send them the pattern today. And then when they're done, I'm going to list it on my Etsy Destash for market value, which I went and looked today. There's not one of these for sale. Like you cannot, that I could find. I couldn't find any on eBay or on Etsy or like on a basic Google search. So, I mean, if you're like a real Brenda Gervais, like collector or completist, like this is one that has been very hard to find. So he does not need to live in a binder in my house. So I will let you guys, I don't think any of you guys are going to buy it. I think it'll be somebody searching for it one day who's like, wait a minute, I really want it. But I'll let you guys know when I do put it on my destash. But I think he's so cute. I love it. And the finish on the pattern is like, okay, so the call for fabric is 32 count platinum by Zweigert. This is 28 count platinum by Zweigert, but the call for is to stitch it 1/1 and make it really little. My guess is because this is an older pattern, I think it's from like 2009-ish. That it just was not as like easy to get a 56 count. And so if you wanted something to be that small with this number of stitches, you needed to stitch it 1/1. I think now, obviously, if you wanted to make it small, you would stitch it on a 56 count. But I cutted this fabric as an offcut, and it was like, well, I actually think I would kind of like him bigger. Stitching it 1/1 on 32 count was never going to be something that happened. But I could have stitched it on 32 or 36. And I just decided, you know what? I have the call for fabric, the call for floss is DMC. Let me stitch in the way he's supposed to look, but make him really big because he's just, oh, this little bunny. So this very expensive pattern. This frame cost $1. I actually got it on the first cross stitch thrift with me video that I did, which I'll link to below. This was one of the frames that I got in that video. It had this cross stitch in it, so it actually had a cross stitch in it, which I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I thought for Easter, the green kind of like, he's kind of prim colors to begin with, but kind of made it like a little more subdued and really let that blue pop. The finish on the pattern has like a bric rack that matches the scarf around the pillowed edge, which is so cute. But I just was like, you know what, I want to have it framed. So I have him on a stand right now in my living room. Well, I literally finished this an hour ago. He has been up, but not for very long. In my living room, and my 5-year-old son, told me it's his favorite thing I've ever stitched, which I did stitch him a solar system, but it was still nice to hear. But so this is going to be part of our Easter decorations. It will get entered at the state fair this year under holidays other. And that's another reason why I'm making them a little bigger. Our state fair does not really reward higher count fabrics anyway, so you might as well be able to see it. Now, the frame held this in it. And then this on the back of it was signed by the person who stitched that as $11.97. So this frame is a vintage 90s frame for the most likely, right? And in it, that pattern had been wrapped around this like picture. So I decided to keep the picture to cover the back partly because I liked the idea of keeping it. And I have the stitching on a foam board. So it's not touching the stitching, but I liked the 90s like feel of it. And then also the way I have it on an easel is kind of in a nook that goes between my living room and my kitchen, so you can see the back of it. So it's not like perfect, but that is better than like just seeing open lacing, which is sometimes what happens. So he's a little bit wrinkled. I don't know if you can tell as much. I had a real hard time getting the wrinkles out today. I ironed it for like 3 different times for like 5 minutes each. And I also let him steam in the bathroom while I took a shower and nothing. So in my experience, the wrinkles do not bother me. But in my experience, you can see it on there. Over the next few months, as this sits in its frame, they will kind of like let go a little bit. And if before the state fair, they're not like, if they're too noticeable before the state fair, I will undo this, put a layer of quilt batting on the foam core, which is something I just didn't want to deal with today, to be honest. I just want to enjoy him for the next month. But if it needs it, I will put the foam batting on, relace it, and the foam batting and the like time of it will both help with the wrinkles. And then I also can always re-steam it at that point. When Easter's done, he will just go up somewhere in my office. So I have like all my seasonal stuff on display in my office. So it's not like he's going to get put away or anything. So I'll be able to tell when it's time for the state fair but I love it. He was such a joy to stitch. It's so crazy to me that this is out of print like that, like, but things go out. We can't have every pattern in print forever. So I just adore him. I think he's so funny. I love how the garden is so much bigger than him and his little mask. And yeah, I just like I couldn't. And this frame is so I have stopped buying frames for myself for the most part when I'm out. I am still picking up vintage frames for the vintage resale shop that I'm opening because if I see a really pretty vintage frame at Goodwill for like $20 or $20, absolutely not, for $4 or less, then I'll pick it up. This one was $1 and it included the stitching. So, but I picked this up before, but square frames are like, I think the hardest thing to find. And so when I see a really good square frame, I'm more inclined to pick that up than like a standard 8x10 or something. So very happy that this was in my stash. I think the green goes with him perfectly. And I'm saying him because of the baby boy blue scarf. I don't know for sure that it's him. I'm saying it's a him, but who knows? But I'm in love with it. Now, while I was stitching, I was like 100 stitches away from finishing, and my princess hoop broke. And if you don't know anything about vintage hoops, you're like, what is that? Allison and I have a vintage hoop parade that I will link to below. But yeah, so my princess hoop broke, but in the weird, like under the metal. And I don't know if it broke because of, it already was broken. Okay, it already was broken. But I don't know if it broke there because having fixed the break here meant the pressure was moved or whatever. So I don't know if this can be fixed at this point. I have other ones, but I really do like the size. If you guys saw the parade, I have other ones. But I really do like the size. I'm pretty, and the color finish on this one's really good. And the stamp on this one's really pretty. I'm kind of bummed about it. I'm trying to think about it. I don't need it. It's not like a need, but it sucks. Also, if you've seen what they're going for on eBay right now. When I got my collection 2 years ago, I almost never spent more than like $25 on the hoop and then like maybe 32 to get it to me. The prices right now on Princess and Duchess hoops are nuts. And so I will not be replacing that. I have enough, but it's bumming me out because it's just, I guess I could always like glue it back together and make it like part of my decor or something. Do a finish. I could do a finish in it. And then when somebody later is like, why do you have a finish in a princess tube? I can be like, relax, it was totally broken. So this, which I don't know what the pattern is, that I got in there. So like I said, that was $1. And it included the stitching. I would like to do something with this. It's on like 10 or 11 count and looks really big. The reason I was comfortable taking out of the stitching was the borders did not look right in it, and it just did not look good in the frame. Something was off. So I don't know if I'm going to hold on to this. I know I'm going to hold on to it for now. I don't know if I'll hold on to it to put it in as a project bag or reframe it. I might reframe it and put it in my vintage shop because like it's from the 90s and vintage needlework is a thing right now. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm definitely not gonna like throw it away. But Easter Peep looks better in that frame, and this needs a different solution. It could even need a frame. It just needs a frame. It was just the way it was in it was not good. All right. That was finished sis, but that was really an FFO. And I did about 2150 stitches on it. So that is the majority of my stitching from the last 2 weeks was on that. I averaged 200 stitches a day the last 2 weeks, which is not my 500 stitches from like before I lost my stitchy bug and like normal, but it is so much better than I had been in the month of February and the first half of this month that I am feeling really good about it. And yesterday I stitched like 700 stitches, which was the first day I've stitched over 500 probably since January. So happy with where things are headed, even though like my total stitch count these 2 weeks aren't like, I'm still not back, but I'm feeling a lot better. All right, so I did have a start. I started Stitch for Pride 2025 by D's 20 Stitches. Didn't get a huge start on it, but I started it last night. After I finished Easter Peep, I was feeling so good and that I decided to go ahead and start it. Also, I'm going to talk about this more in Stitchy Kindness, but Trans Day of Remembrance. Let me actually make a note to myself to do that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Trans Day of Remembrance more in Stitchy Kindness, but I wanted to be able to be working on this on that day. And if my life is chaos that day and it's the day where I can't start something, I thought I had an hour of stitching time left last night when I finished. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and get this started. So I was watching Chandria Carroll and Tara from Wilden Women Crafts last night and stitching on this. Now, Stitch for Pride 2025 is a special stitch along. You cannot get it right now, although I will link to Dee's channel. Go check out their last Flosstube because they're doing a giveaway on their channel that you will, if you're like have FOMO about Stitch for Pride, go watch their last because they're doing a giveaway. So Stitch for Pride 2025 is a year-long stitch along where every month the motif comes out. And you're like, a year long, and you started in March. Yeah, it started in January. I'm behind. So it's a year-long stitch along, and this year the theme is trans history, which is awesome. And Trans Day of Visibility is March 31st. So, part of me would be like, well, start it on that day. That'll be great. But I no longer have the ability to know if I'm going to have good start date. Like if starting things has become a lot more of a stressful problem right now because of my 2-year-old she's turned a corner and she's fully insane. And so I don't have a lot of downtime anymore. So it'll pass. And I'm just trying to enjoy her while she's so little, but it just is like a fact that like I may not have a moment's peace until like 10 p.m. and like starting things at 10 p.m. it doesn't always go well. So this is 32 count steel by Fibro and a Whim. This is a fabric that I got as a gift from Katie the Peacock Stitcher. This is the called for floss, but not the called for fabric. So Stitch for Pride this year is about trans history, and every month there is a historical figure where they are either trans and known to be trans, or they are non-binary or gender non-conforming. Because obviously when you're talking about historical people, it's a lot easier to say for sure this person was gender non-conforming as opposed to this is what was going on in their interior lives during a time when they were not even allowed to talk about it and people didn't have words for it. So the different figures so far have run a spectrum from probably truly trans to gender bending, possibly for internal reasons that are like possibly for like gender reasons, and but also combined with definitely political and access reasons. So this month is Shu Jean. She was sometimes she's referred to like a way for Westerners to understand kind of her significance is like the Chinese Joan of Arc. She was executed at 31, so her life had a similar bent to it. So the analogy works in some ways, but in other ways, and her life was crazy. She was a poet. She like I was listening to a podcast episode about it. So Dee's I'm not as good at doing this alone as with someone, so I apologize for all the rambling. But these learnings have like lots of links in them where you can go. So we got like a documentary link. I put the podcast today because I could listen to it while I was doing other things. I want to sit down and watch the documentary. Um, and there's like, I mean, hours and hours and hours of learning. So I have only scratched the surface, but again, I have like another 1,100 stitches doing this motif, so I'll come back to you with more. But what I learned so far has been really interesting. She was in a horrible marriage, basically told like filed for divorce in a world where there was no such thing as divorce. She had to leave her 2 children behind to go and join a political movement to help overthrow the Jing dynasty, and said that that felt like being split in two, which I can only imagine how hard that must have been. The podcast I listened to made a note that they did not know what happened. The 2 podcast hosts did not know what happened to the children. I'm very interested to know like if like what happened to the 2 children, because it'd be very interesting to hear like, you know, if there's anything known about their perspective of their views of their mom and that sacrifice she made. But she dressed as a man. She had foot bindings her whole life, and so, or from the time that they would normally start throughout her marriage. And so when she left, she unbound her feet and started dressing like a man, and was the head of a school that was like ostensibly a school, but was really like a bomb factory, essentially. I mean, like her life was crazy and very inspirational. And so far, it's been really interesting. And it is very interesting. One of the parallels between her and Joan of Arc of having to do of when you want to do men's work, then having to do, you know, it's just very interesting. So the pictures of her in her like full male suits are also like there's pictures of her in dressed in traditionally women's clothes, and then dressed in like very Western looking suits, because part of what they were advocating for was that for China to get a Western style government as opposed to being in this empire. So it was really good so far. And part of why I was excited was because of where March is placed. I could start do a center top start and start with March instead of having to start with January and February, because I kind of just wanted to like get caught up and like be caught up and keep going. And then I might have to count, depending on where I have to count off in the future, I might have to go back and do January and February at some point for counting purposes, but it was nice to be able to start with March. And then the floss is by Algie Ross, and it was it's cotton floss that has been dyed, inspired by traditional materials and dyes that were available in the time period. So this one's called Sumu, and it's based on the sappanwood tree, which is that's the English name for a sumu. But it's like a pink, orangey, reddish color, and it's so pretty. Oh, Easter Peep lived in my Carrie Sews For You Easter gnome bag. And my Stitch for Pride bag is back. This was my Stitch for Pride bag all last year, and it is back. It's my 805 Stitcher bag with this awesome neon print. And then I've got my 6-inch princess hoop. That might be different than last year. But here's the floss. I haven't I haven't gone through and cut all of the other flosses that I haven't gotten to, but this is Sumu. And these flosses are just so beautiful. There is a DMC conversion included in the pattern. So my thinking is if a pattern comes out that looks like it's something that will be bigger than I can do 32 2/2, then I will just get the DMC and kind of go back and forth. So I'm not super worried about running out. But yeah, that's my start on Stitch for Pride 2025. If you've been here for a while, you know Allison and I loved Stitch for Pride 2024. We both finished it. And we just both took a little bit of break. Allison, I think, has also started this. So you guys will see our progress on the next one. All right, so that was my only start. And then I had 3 whips. So I only did like 100 stitches on that. Something Chandria Carroll said on her video was that Chandria said that she wasn't showing things if she didn't get at least 300 stitches. So just know that I would only be showing Easter Peep if that was my personal rule, because I didn't get that much on anything. Okay, so my next one is Full Moon Bell Pull by Tiny Modernist. This is a stitch along that I'm doing on the full moon with Jen from Jen's Fiberweb, and then Megan, the Wide-Eyed Stitcher, and Amy from Amy Loves Toads. And I did about almost 300 stitches on this. I am behind. Part of what happened was that I've been stitching it with this. I'm going to move its project bag too, because now I have Carol gave me some project bags that I can put this in, but it has been living in this upcycled cosmetics bag. And I've been stitching it with this hoop. And it is actually great, unless you need to count, because but I have made a mistake in here, and I realized I need to count the center and make sure the center tree point goes in the right place, and then count off the rest. And I couldn't do that the way that I had this hoop. I'm going to switch to a 9 by 4.5 oval hoop. And then I also think I need to get out of the trees for a while and just work on some border. Then this morning I noticed that I have a stain on this and an identical almost color stain on another piece of fabric from today. So somehow when I was ironing things, I stained them. I'm going to wait and see if Allison's Tide Pin can fix this. If not, I can definitely probably finish it so that it doesn't show, because that would still give me a good margin. But obviously not custom framing it, and it's going to be a oblong piece, so I may not have as much control over how wide my border is. That's annoying. I'm stitching this on 28 count Enchanted by Oak Crown Studios. So I have more to do. I have more to work on this month. So it doesn't really ever go away. It kind of stays in my chair, but I have more to work on it this month. And then my other I'll do them in this order. Okay, so my next piece is Within a Dream by the Artsy Housewife. This is a piece that I'm working on as a memorial to my dog, Lucy. If you want to know about Lucy, it's the last 11 minutes of our Ask Us Anything video, so I will link that below. But Sarah, from who's Story Quest Stitcher on Instagram, had a Sal on Pi Day for her cat that had passed away, and asked people to stitch on pet memorials or start. And she asked people to stitch on a pet memorial or start a pet memorial on that day if that was something that they needed. And since I have this one going, I pulled it out and I worked on all the black. So I think I did the eyes and the nose, and then a little more here. I only did about 100 stitches that day, but it was really important for me to get it out. I really want to be working it every day, but I just haven't even been getting it out at all. Part of what happened was that I lost the DMC pack for it. And because I'm in the skull is like all DMC. And I have it somewhere in my office is a bag with the DMC for it, and I don't. So I need to just keep going and like on the border and stuff, and come back and do that when I find them. And then this is the other piece that has a suspiciously brown stain on it right here. So I probably will wait and tie pin it next time I see Allison, because always has a tie pin handy. This is on 28 count tropical linens presentation, which I think is really pretty for it. And it lives in this Lake House Stitchco bag. I am stitching it with the Call for Floss, which is a mix of, well, I made 2 subs in here, but so I have all of the, so I'm stitching with all Gentle Arts and DMC because there's 2 weeks that I didn't buy. So I converted those myself. And then I'm stitching it with this 6-inch Duchess hoop. And I really love this piece. It's really beautiful, and it's going to be really meaningful when it's done. And so thank you to Sarah for hosting that Sal. I didn't even think about doing something like that when I started that for her. So the fact that Sarah planned that for other people is really special. And then my last thing that I worked on is Sarah Spencer, which is by Hands Across the Sea. This is my first Hands Across the Sea. This is Jen Fiberweb, her birthday start. So I just only did another 100 stitches. It's so pretty. It's on 28 count butterscotch by Oak Crown Studios. And I'm doing it with my own silk stash conversion. And it is beautiful. It's just so pretty. So I don't know how much further I will get. Probably not. This is probably one of those pieces that will not get much more done this year, and then we'll need to be on like a specific, or maybe I'll pull it out next March and like plan to try to, or another option would be like next February or something to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna stitch this until it's done. It's not that big. It's like it's 10 or 15,000 stitches. It's not a BAB. It's $999.84. It is not a BAB. So I could finish it by her birthday next year if I decide that I want to try to do that. This is my very disorganized silk stash conversion because so many of these are hanks. I'm not dealing with that right now. And I'm stitching it with this 6-inch spring top hoop that I got from Hobbies of Holly as a present. It is not a Gibbs Co. It is kind of unbranded. If you're into vintage hoops, that might be interesting to you to see that there's no metal plate there. And it lives in this beautiful green garden bag that says Garden Friends. So this is kind of like lives like my friend's birthday stitch. I got a hoop from a friend, and it's in a bag that says Garden Friends. So this is kind of my like my friend's kit. So that is everything I stitched in 2 weeks, which is not that much. But we have other topics to discuss. So you're probably looking at the timestamp and being like, okay, but like, why do you have so much time left in this video? Because that's not all we do here. We don't only talk about stitching. We talk about the world of stitching. Plans. Okay, so now that Easter Peep is done, my next immediate thing is to work on my 2 Make It Murder Sal pieces until they're done. And then also I'm going to keep working on Moonface Bell Pull to get that caught up. And then I will talk about one other plan in a minute. So this is where I am on my 2 Make It Murder starts. I'm not very far. So I only technically need to finish one, but people have been sending in their stuff for their videos. And if you are still need to send it, here's my email address to send it. And Allison's done. So now I have a couple weeks. I got to finish it, and then we got to make that video. So here's where I am on Frosted Tiny Town, which I'm turning into like a Fargo-esque murder mystery. And this is Hello Summer by Erin Elizabeth. And I'm turning this into like a CW Lifetime movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer-esque intro. So I might just pick one of these and work till they're finished, or I might go back and forth. So if in the next video I have to say like, oh, I stitched 5,000 stitches, but you can't see it, it's because it was only on this. But I am going to also work on Moonface Bell Pull. So those 3 are my next, like, work on those. And then when I am caught up on my Make It Murder Sals and my Moonface Bell Pull, then I need to dive head into my 2025 plans, which, yes, I'm starting off my 2025 plans until sometime in April, but that's okay. I also have 2 Christmas ornament whip go calls. I might not start them until I'm done with this DMC project but I might start them. Kind of up in the air. If one of them, if I knew one could be a start and finish, I would just go. Um, how about this? I don't know. So I'm supposed to start two of them, one on the 24th, one on the 25th. I think I still will at least try to start them. If not, maybe I'll pull out the January one that I didn't hit my goal on and get to there, because I just need these two Make It Murders done, and then I can kind of live my life. I've been living in this world of like needing to, like having some deadlines for things I needed to finish, and that's not how I really like to roll. And then also not wanting to stitch at all, and so it's been hard. But I will be very excited in April to start my plans. Okay. Flosstube University. Flosstube University is when we either make a tutorial for you guys to learn, not for you guys, but make a tutorial to teach something about cross stitch on Flosstube, or we share, and then we also share things on here that we have learned. So this week, Jen from Jen's Fiberweb, I think she's told me this before, but I have done some color conversions on things where you think the colors are going to pop, but then it's a little bit muddy and you're not sure why. And one of her tricks that she learned from knitting that I thought was really great, and I actually did last night, was take a picture and like change it to black and white of your floss and your fabric and your flosses together. And if you can't see them, like if they disappear into each other, then the colors don't have the right value differences, even if it could be a pink and a green, but they will get muddled if you can't, if they don't have enough value difference. So that was really helpful. I did that last night, starting Stitch for Pride on that fabric, because the call for fabric is much darker and I was worried you wouldn't be able to see it. I think I'm good, but it was interesting, and I think I'll still get it wrong sometimes, but it was a really good tip. So definitely check her out. Okay, and then Stitchy Kindness. I mentioned both of these situations briefly, but I need to explain them further. So first of all, Judy Williams on Instagram, I think Judy L. Williams on Instagram, gave Allison and I some DMC stickers, and I already mentioned that we were giving away the other set. But thank you, Judy, and we talked about that on our DMC video, our organizing DMC video. And then Amanda from Bad Stitched is hosting a campaign for Transgender Day of Visibility, where she created a new pattern. And if you donate $5 to the link that is set up for that, it supports the organization Trans Lifeline. If you donate $5, you get this year's pattern. But if you donate $15, you get this year's pattern and 2024 and 2023 patterns as well in a bundle. And she sent me the patterns, which was so kind, because she just wanted to know if anybody wanted to talk about it. And I said I would talk about it. But she sent me the patterns already, and they're gorgeous. So she didn't have to do that. So thank you. But the campaign runs the 28th of March through April 1st, I think. Let me just double check. Through Monday. Okay, so it's Friday, March 28th through Monday, April 1st at midnight. That's 5 days, 4 days. Okay, Monday's the 31st. I'm going to ask her. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know if you can get them on Tuesday, April 1st, but get them anyway. Tuesday visibility is March 31st. It's Monday, March 31st. So I'm going to be stitching on Stitch for Pride because it is trans history, but I think I might also start one of Amanda's patterns because they're really good. And I think I might specifically start one of the pattern that was her 2023 release. So if you do the whole anyway, so if you don't have a plans for something you want to stitch on Trans Day of Visibility, it might be something where you're like, yes, I would like to do a start for that day, or yes, I would like to stitch on a project for that day, but you may not have anything in your whip pile to pull out. On Friday you can get Amanda's bundle for $15, or you can just get this year's pattern for $5, and I'm showing the sneak peek, I'm sure. And so the way that you can get the link, I will put the link in the description, but it's not going to be active till Friday. So I would follow Amanda on Blue Sky. Again, her design company is Bad Stitched. And yeah, so the money, like I said, the money goes to support Trans Lifeline, and the patterns are really good. Okay, haul. So I have two things of haul to show you. The first thing is, so on my secondhand shopping channel, which is called Stephanie Shop Secondhand, I had a video where I showed actually thrifting this piece. And then I showed in the video that I decided to keep it. But it actually was cross stitch haul. So Joy from the Carolina Stitchers has one of these. I'm going to take that. And she keeps her project bags in them by her chair. And I have been using, since I started, I thrifted this basket and I've been keeping it by my chair. And then that's also what I use to take things to Allison's house. And it's great, but it's really big. And I think it encourages me to have too many things that I'm trying to pick from every day. Whereas this, I can really only fit like 6 projects in it. And it's kind of an easier way to like focus, like, okay, these are the 6 things that I'm working on. And then if I want to, like, these are the 6 things that I'm working on. And then if I want to switch them out, I can, but I just need to switch them out in my office and like really focus on what I have. And then I can still throw things in that basket that are for Flosstube, like, you know, because if something comes in the mail that's Stitchy Kindness or haul or whatever, I would always just throw it in the bag too. I can still do that. And then any WIP that I'm done with before Flosstube can go in that basket. It doesn't need to be beside my chair. So I got this. This is a vintage magazine rack. You can see my Goodwill sticker. I paid $5 for it. It was made in Taiwan. It has some damage. You can see there's some damage here and here. But I was going to sell it like that. Like when I got this, I got it thinking I was going to put it up in my vintage resale shop when that opens, hopefully very soon. But then I got it home and I was like, you know what? It looks so good in my house. Even the damage doesn't really bother me, but if it ever did really bother me, I could, like, you know, sand it down and retouch it up a little bit. But yeah, so basically my stuff has been in here for like 2 weeks and I love it. And it just looks better in my living. It just looks more like furniture in my living room and not like a laundry basket in my living room. And then that laundry basket lives in my office and still has a purpose. So, and they both were $5 at thrift store. So it's not like, you know, it's not like I spent a lot of money on that and replacing it. It's not like this is a huge upgrade. It's like kind of a lateral move. It's a lateral move financially, just like what do I personally like better? And if I see these in their stores, I think I still will pick them up because I do think they sell well on the secondhand market from what I can tell, because they have a lot of uses. And this was the second time I found one, but the first time I found one, it had a bunch of spindles that went down the middle that were supposed to be there that were missing. This one doesn't have, well, you know what? This one might have had spindles. No, it doesn't. It just has some, there's some stuff I need to clean up. But anyway, I really like it. So thank you, Joy, for that idea. And it's nice that this happened to be the week to show it because it's nice to not drag that to Allison's house. Although it's fairly sturdy. And I'll do a little demonstration. So these, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna leave Zara Spencer in here. Keep Lucy. Keep Stitch for Pride. I want to put Moonphase Bell Pull in a different project bag. I'll do that today. And then, so this is the bag that has my kids' birthday projects on it, but I need to be honest with myself. If I'm not going to work at it in the next 2 weeks, it doesn't need to be in here. So here are kind of the 3 project bags that I really need to be picking from in the next few weeks. So like that's perfect. And then I need to put these back on. Oh, there's stuff here too. I wonder, there's like the same, I wonder if my daughter got something on it, or I could have, but feels like, it feels more like, anyway, we'll see. Okay. And so I want to so I have Stitch for Pride and my Lucy Pet Memorial in here, which are great just to be able to pull out when I need to. And then my 2 Make It Murder Sal's, and then I need to put this in a different project bag. So that's great. Okay. My other piece of haul is actually 27 pieces of haul. Okay, but it's not all for me. So don't worry, it's not all for me. Okay. So I've been enjoying reselling vintage patterns. Most of the ones are stuff I found on Facebook Marketplace. And thrift stores. But sometimes I find like a lot on eBay that I really want to look at or go through or stitch from. And if it's not too badly priced, then I will go ahead and get it. And then a lot of that stuff has gone into destash. So there was this lot of 27 cross stitch patterns that were like, I think with the discount, I spent like about $1.20 each. So actually a little more than I like to pay for them, but it was because I really wanted this one. So this is the one that I'm keeping. This is State Birds Charted for Cross Stitch. This is an old Leisure Arts book. And I'm only going to stitch one thing out of it, so it probably will eventually go up on destash. But this is the Scissorfill Flycatcher. That is the Oklahoma State Bird. I do think they have here's a stitched model of it. So my office, I record videos in here for my secondhand shopping channel and this channel, but I really need to start an Oklahoma travel channel, and I've just been avoiding it for a number of reasons. But this wall kind of needs to represent all three of those things. And like this is travel, but it's also secondhand. This is cross stitch, but the frame is also secondhand. This tennis racket is just secondhand, but this is cross stitch, but the frame is also secondhand. So this is from a thrift store. It needs to say something. Anyway, so I was thinking, I don't have anything on here besides this map that really represent Oklahoma. And I might put something here and like push the camera a little bit ways back. But I was thinking it'd be nice to stitch the State Bird and put it in a round frame. It would look good on the wall, and it'd be great if it was like maybe right here. This is just a vintage print that I'm going to eventually sell, but I like it. So I put it up while I don't have anything else to go up there. But it might be nice to, so I'm going to stitch the Oklahoma State Bird. I'm not sure like when I'm going to stitch it, but this is why I got this eBay bundle. And so essentially, if I can sell enough of these patterns that the bundle gets paid for, then this will eventually, I'm not supposed to buy things. I need to be revenue neutral. So spending $5 on an organizer and $1.50 on a pattern isn't like that bad. But I do think I will end up on this being revenue neutral because I'm going to stick up the rest of these on my Etsy destash, and some of them are so good. So I'll show you, I'll do a really quick little like vintage pattern parade. By the time you guys see this, they will all be up in my destash. So if something's not there, it means it's sold. I will link to my destash in the description. But this is America, Itty Bitty America. Oh, no, I'm keeping this one too. I have a finishing piece that I think this pattern will look good in. So that was the other one I was keeping. Okay, sorry, that's one I'm keeping. These are the one I'm destashing, which is Millie Smith's More Country Folk Art. And look at this. This is called Hen with Strawberries. Country Hen with Strawberries. Like, insane. This is Patriotic Motifs. It is by Alma Lynn. This is Santa Remembers by Schoolroom Samplings. It uses buttons for those houses, but I think it is charted too in a way where you could stitch them. See how it says them? So I think you could stitch them or use the buttons, but that has the buttons, which I think is interesting. This is Stony Creek's. This is a magazine. So this is a magazine by Stony Creek, but it has like a ton of stuff in it. Like this Flights of Fancy Afghan. This Santa and Mrs. Claus. I mean, I took pictures of all of the things in it because I took the pictures yesterday. But did I take a picture of this drum set? That I don't know about. So in the listing, it'll have all the other things that are in here. It just has a lot. So like it looks like what you're buying is a pattern, but you're not. You're buying like a pretty nice magazine. These like roses. So that is Stony Creek collection magazine, July, August 1990. This is Spirit of the Eagle from Dimensions. It's by Sally Smith. This is a Gordon Fraser Christmas. And like the covers of these are just, they don't tell you. Like, look at all those. Look. They're just really good. 50 Santas to Cross Stitch by Sam Hawkins. I sold a book that was a bunch of his Christmas motifs too. Oh, look at that guy. This is Dreamcatchers. This is actually artwork by Joan Elliott. This was a leisure arts kit or booklet. This one's nuts. Okay. This is better. Okay, this one's nuts. It's Better Homes and Gardens, Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. So it's from the people that do the magazine. Well, Better Homes and Gardens, you know, but it's Cross Stitch and Country Crafts branded. Okay, so that is the finish. And the way that you do it is this is a cross stitch and that is a Hardanger. And then you layer your finish. I don't have the skills for this, but that's incredible. Seasonal Covered Bridges by Gloria and Pat. A cupboard full. It just says book 9. Who's this by? Busy Hands Needlework Designs LLC. 1979. So look at this. And then look at that strawberry sign. This sampler is really pretty. But yeah, it's really cool. This is another one that I really would like to keep, but because we've had Canadian geese all around here, but I live in Oklahoma, but they're passing through, I guess. But this is called the Canada Goose Volume 1. This is a Holly Jolly Cross Stitch Christmas, which the cover just has this guy, but then you also get that guy, and that guy, I think. This is Leisure Arts. Oh, what fun. 8 waste canvas Christmas designs. But you can just do them. You don't need to do them on a sweatshirt and waste canvas. You can just do them. But those are cool. Oh, this is cool. I've never seen this before. This is Leisure Arts Christmas Countdown. It's an advent calendar. And the top are these sweet little bunnies. And then the way they have this, it makes you think that it's not filled in. But they have motifs you could fill up the advent calendar. Almalin Christmas Accents. Oh. Country Sportsman from Country Cross Stitch, which, if you like ducks, we've got some ducks and dogs and birds, some hunting motifs, but if you took away the hunting aspect of it, people would just think it's ducks. Holiday mugs, which these are just designs. You can put them on anything. They just happen to have them finished on those little mugs because they wanted you to buy the mugs. Santa Reunion. I already had this pattern once and I sold it. So when I saw this was in the bundle, I was excited about it. That is by Leisure Arts. This is Frosty Nights by Mill Hill. A lot of their stuff of these, there's a bunch of buttons on here. I'm sure like this one is done in buttons, but I'm sure if the buttons are not available anymore, that you could stitch the little pattern yourself. I don't know. I didn't look to see what buttons were available and what weren't, but it has the what the button numbers are on each design if you want to find them. The Goose Gathering from Dale Burdett. And what I like about this one is these wintry goose and their little scarves. I love getting these and looking through them and then deciding which ones I have to stitch and which ones are. But even the ones I don't stitch, I get so much inspiration and joy from going through them that it's totally worth it to go through the process of this. And then yes, I make a little money and I pay a couple bills and that's really great. But it's not like a drag to do. It's so fun. Something Special Mallard collection. You got more ducks. I just thought like some of the eBay bundles look good, but I can't like buy that many of them. But some of the eBay bundles, I'm like, well, a lot of that stuff doesn't look cool. But this one, the reason I pulled besides the fact that it like I was looking for this, the reason I knew this one was good, it was like so many of these were things like I have never seen this before. I have never seen this Mill Hill booklet. Like so many were things that I had not seen before that I was excited to get to see. This is Gertrude and Friends. I had Gertrude and Friends too, and that sold. This is the first one. This is a leisure arts booklet. They're just so sweet. Oh, okay. This is the one where I'm letting this one go because, okay, I'll tell you. Okay, so this is Gloria and Pat Wild Animals in North America. And it is amazing. And I want to stitch this guy so bad, but I have photos of bison that I need to chart and put up as my own patterns. And so I decided I'm not allowed to stitch someone else's bison when I literally have like a photo of bison on my, like in my folder labeled like patterns that it has not been charted. So I'm not allowed to keep this, but this, I've never seen this booklet before. It is really good. And the charts are like really big. But yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's 10 different designs. Sometimes the covers will do one thing twice and you kind of get tripped up, but I think it might be 11 because, but they're just really good. If you have been wanting to do some like national park stitching, or if you went to like Yellowstone or something, or like, you know, Badlands National Park, there's a lot of things on here that live in a lot of the parks that people like to go to. Okay, so it's 12 designs. Gray fox, mule deer, caribou, pronghorn antelope, mountain sheep, buffalo, cougar, black bear, bobcat, American elk, moose, and white-tailed deer. And this is copy. Oh! I had said in the video the other day that I had had a lot of 70s and 80s and 90s patterns. I was getting pretty good at saying like, okay, this is 70s, this is 80s, this is 90s, this is 2000s. This is copyright 1969. I think these are amazing for being that old. And this is the first pattern, I think, from the 60s that I've actually had. So I'm going to list it on my destash. Okay, so these are going on the destash tonight. So by the time you see this, they will be live, and these are going into my collection. And I feel as good as I can about that as I can. I'm sad a little bit, but if I stitch that scissor tail flycatcher, then that one will go up. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to show you guys. There's one thing I wanted to show you guys. I was decluttering my cookbooks in my kitchen and pulling out which ones I actually cook from versus which ones I just bought at thrift stores because I like them and I'm not allowed to keep them if I'm not going to cook out of them. But who made this? This is by Meredith. Oh, no, it's Better Homes and Gardens. Okay. This was a cookbook that I got at Goodwill for, why did I pull the sticker off before? Okay, so it was $3 and it's been sitting on my counter forever, but I have never looked at it. So what I was thinking is I'm going to throw this up on my cross stitch destash, even though it's a cookbook, but I want to explain why. And then if nobody wants it and I open my vintage store, the other vintage cookbooks I pulled out are going to go up there. But this is Treasury of Country Crafts and Foods. And the thing that made me look at it was, one, there are some cross stitch patterns in it, not like a ton, but also if you like country crafts, you might be interested in seeing this because I've already read it. And there's like, it's kind of a compendium of like, just in the what the 80s and 90s thought of as like country crafts. Let's see, when was it? When is the publication date? Doesn't say. So it covers embroidery, cross stitch, needlepoint, ruck making, special stitches, and then that's in the stitchery and needlecrafts. But And it also has things like country bread making, crafts primer. And then it's also just a beautiful vintage book if you're like decorating with, like if you want a book for decor. But there was one thing in it I wanted to show you guys that I was thinking, oh, family sweaters. It's a really pretty book, actually. Why did I have it in my kitchen? I should have just had it out, but I can't. Where is it? There was a embroidery that I thought somebody might want to actually do. Pies and jams. Oh, is that another cross stitch pattern? Oh, there's another cross stitch pattern. Where is this? Quilting, obviously. Oh, furniture. Wood carving, quilting, embroidery. Here we go. Oh, wow. The embroidery section is bigger than I thought. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is a needlepoint. But where is, oh, rug making? This book is really, see, I buy things because I know they're like good, but then I can't do everything and they just sit in my house. And that's going to be much more fun to instead be like finding things for other people to enjoy because I can't enjoy everything. Um, Here it is. I thought one of you guys out there might want to be that might be something somebody really wants to make. It is, well, I think it's just embroidery. Um, Embroidered, it's called embroidered mallard, and this is the kind of thing you would give you. So you have to be good enough at embroidery to know what to do about that. But anyways, I'm gonna throw this up in my destash, even though it's really great. I have good taste. I just don't have a mansion to fit everything in. So this is Better Homes and Gardens Treasury of Country Crafts and Foods. So that is what will be up on my destash when this goes live. If you are interested in any of them, thank you to everyone who has bought stuff off my destash. I've already had 40 orders on the Etsy destash, which is wonderful. So thank you guys so much. I am going to make a video at some point soon, not soon, but probably in like 30 days from when I launched Etsy to about the different the 3 different ways that I've run destashes and like what I've learned and tips and tricks and lessons, some hard lessons learned, things like that. So if you have an overabundance of stash and you're wanting to do a destash, might be helpful for you. Okay, so that was haul. Ask us anything. Obviously, not going to do that because Allison is not here. So then the giveaways. So the 2 people who won this, the person who won the Snow White giveaway and the person that won the Quilted Witch giveaway, have both reached out to me. Both of them live overseas, and so neither of them, they're both still in my bag. So they are safe. Well, no, Snow White is still with Allison, but the Quilted Witch is here. So neither of them have gone out yet, but they will be going out soon. We had 2 giveaways. So we were giving away this country cottage. We're giving away this country cottage needlework summer strawberries, and I didn't pull a winner yet, but since I'm here and I have my computer here, which is rare, we could go ahead and do it together. I'm not going to film my computer because I don't know how to do. Well, I know how to do it, but I'm not doing it with that. Okay, so pickawinner.co. Find the video it was on. Okay, so we gave that away on our last floss tube. And the word was summer. The keyword was summer. Fetch. 25 people entered. And the winner is Vin May Stitches. Summer plans are stitching on the deck with coffee and pups and kayaking to explore the forest, my happy place. So Vin May Stitches, please email me at this email address and let me know that you won and where to send this to. And then the other one is we on our DMC organization video, we gave away a set of DMC stickers that Judy had given us because she gave us 2 sets and Allison didn't want one and so or doesn't need one because she already has her system is kind of already set. So we gave away the other set of DMC stickers. And so let's look at that up. Who won that? The keyword was DMC. And 27 people entered that. And Kaylin Murray, 6191, she says, love the organization. I would be careful DM sticker. Oh, she says she has the Pip and Chip ones. So I don't know. I don't know if she actually wants these stickers. So Kaylin, if you were entering the competition, let me know if you at this email if you would like them. If you were not entering the competition and you just were telling us that you like the Pip and Chip stickers, just let me know and I will draw a new winner. That's what you get for picking a word that like can be used in conversation too. On a video about DMC to pick the DMC. All right, so I don't have a giveaway. Well, do I have anything? Yeah, I've been. I think I do. These are the things that never got claimed that we have given away before, and I've given people kind of ample notice to reach out. If you had contacted me and I had missed it and hadn't gotten you your stuff, to reach out. So let's go ahead and give one of these away. All right, so let's give away this copy of Antique Needleworkers, The Law of Kindness. She gave these to us to give away, and we gave away her other 2, and I actually sent them. So use the word kindness if you want to enter to win this one. It has the pattern for this, and then it also has the pattern for the little needle book on the back. All right, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe. We do have some really fun extras on the horizon, even if I'm not willing to tell you what they are because I don't want to be embarrassed and push them back and have you know that. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave the little baby chick emoji, and that will be our secret language that you made at the end in honor of this little cutie patootie. And thank you guys so much. Bye.